So glad to be talking about this movie. Yay, yay, yay. Where do I begin? Where do I even begin? Well, this movie, it starts off brilliantly. It's got the bank robbery scene as its opening scene, and this scene in and of itself has a really intricate, awesome plot. So after this first scene was over, I knew, wow, this movie definitely has a lot of potential, but I wasn't 100% sold. So I don't know if this makes me seem really violent or something. Maybe I shouldn't be admitting this, but I knew that this movie was going to be good when the whole pencil trick, if you will, went down. I think the reason I knew after this part this movie was going to be special is because I knew Christopher Nolan wasn't going to hold back. And I knew that somehow he found a way to go against the currents of Hollywood where you so often see movies fall short and not go all the way with things. You could tell right away, this guy's going to do what he wants to do. He's going to make this movie the way he wants to make it. And I felt like he's going to take some risks. And I am a big believer that taking risks in life pays off. One of the negative remarks I've heard about this film over the years since it's been out, summer of 2008, I've heard people say that they actually like Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, but they're not as crazy about him as Batman. And there was that whole, all that ruckus that I guess still exists over the whole Bat voice. And I will admit I was not a fan of the Bat voice. That was definitely one of my main complaints when I first came out of this movie was the voice. I think there's two different elements to this whole thing. I think the one is that it's hard to understand him sometimes, just as hard to understand the line because it's unclear. I think the other part of it is people are just like, why is he, I don't understand why he would do that with his voice. After I saw this movie with my dad, I was the one that brought up the Batman voice, I think, and he just acted like, I don't see what's wrong with it at all because he's disguising his voice. He needs to disguise his voice. I actually think that makes more sense. And ever since then, I kind of came around to it. I still put in the DVD all the time, and it really doesn't bother me. I never notice it. I will still say that sometimes you can't understand what he's saying, and that's not a good thing. But there's a lot of actors and performances in movies where you can't understand the line, and I feel like that just happens. One of the great things about this movie is there's so many iconic shots in it. Like when Joker's standing in front of a giant burning pile of money. Or I really like the shot where you first see the Joker up in that tower at the very end of the movie, right when Joker and Batman meet up to have their kind of final encounter. And the Joker's back is towards us, and he's looking out the window, and he's got those 3 Rottweilers around, like surrounding him that he took from that other guy. I just thought that was really cool. I love that shot. And gosh, this movie is just a treasure trove of awesome. It really is. It actually took me quite a few times seeing this movie to see all the little nuances of the plot and appreciate all the details within the storyline. I just know that every time I walked out of the theater seeing it that summer, there was always something new I noticed about something that would connect, like is something a character maybe said at the beginning and then something that at the end, or a theme that all connected, or something. It's just something that seemed to all come together really well at the end. And I won't admit how many times I saw this in the theater. I don't readily admit that because it's a little embarrassing. I don't get easily embarrassed by seeing movies multiple times in the theater because I do it a lot. But I never on this level had I seen a movie that often in the theater, so I won't admit it. So one of my other favorite parts, I know that everyone talks a lot about the Joker when they're talking about this movie, and it's hard not to because for me, like a lot of people, he totally stole the whole film. One of my favorite parts about this film is the contradictory nature of the Joker throughout. It's a theme that they hold really strong to throughout the entire film. They're really consistent with, which I think is just really brilliant. Like when he describes how he got the scars in 2 completely different stories, or like how he gives Harvey Dent that big speech in the hospital about schemers and how they're the ones with the problem and he's just a dog chasing cars. Clearly, the Joker is completely full of it because he, throughout the entire film, is planning out these really complicated things to go down where I agree that he creates chaos and that's his thing, but to create the chaos, he actually schemes a lot. I feel he does a lot of planning, so I thought that was kind of an ironic little part. I mean, if anyone disagrees with me on that, because I could be wrong about that, I could be kind of looking at it wrong, please leave in the comments about why maybe someone wouldn't see him as like a planner or a schemer. I just thought that was supposed to be one of the contradicting things within the story, but maybe not everybody picked up on it that way. I'm not 100%. So one of my other favorite parts about this movie is Harvey Dent's character arc and storyline. I think a lot of people have said by this point that they feel that Aaron Eckhart's performance as Harvey Dent is a little underrated, and I'm definitely one of those people. I did think he because he got outshined a little bit, that it's like a little underrated, but I think he's so great in this movie too. He's so great. It just makes me happy thinking about it. And it makes me very interested in the Two-Face character. I found his character very fascinating. In fact, I think as a character, I might have been more fascinated by him than I was of the Joker. I was more entertained by the Joker, but I think I was more intrigued actually by Two-Face. And I do love Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne and Batman. I am a fan of both of those. I think he's great. I like him. So anyway, I'm super excited for Dark Knight Rises. Catwoman is one of my favorite characters, and she's been one of my favorite characters since I was a kid. So I have a hard time envisioning Catwoman as anything else but the Michelle Pfeiffer version, because that's just what I grew up with and that's just what I know. But I just trust Christopher Nolan so much that I just don't have a lot of doubt that he's gonna disappoint me with how he envisions her. But my ultimate favorite character in Batman above Catwoman is Harley Quinn. My name is Quinn, so I love Harley Quinn, partly for that reason, partly because I do really like her as a character, not just because of the name. And I'm disappointed because I know she's probably never going to be brought into the picture, especially in his universe. I've had a really exciting cosplay idea. I get involved with cosplay stuff sometimes. And I got a really exciting idea involving her recently that I hope will come to fruition eventually. I don't know. Cosplay is very expensive and very time consuming. So we'll see. That always remains to be seen. But I do have an interesting idea involving her that I think would be really cool. But, I just don't know where she fits into the Nolan universe, and I think, you need Joker there. And I guess that's a good ending note for this video, because really, there's obviously a huge tragedy involved with this movie. And it's the fact that even if they wanted to put Joker back in Dark Knight Rises, because obviously he didn't die at the end of Dark Knight, spoiler alert, he just gets taken off, we all assume, to Arkham Asylum. So it's almost like I want to say that one of the disappointments about Dark Knight Rises is that I know we will get no more of Joker, unless they go about it in some other way, but no more of Joker with Heath, and what could have potentially been a lot more scenes with him or whatever, a continuation of his character. Really, that lies in a realm that's way beyond disappointment. That's just in a whole different area for me. It's not disappointment, it's like real sadness over that, something much more than, oh, I wish this person could be in a movie. I mean, that's just on a whole different level of tragedy and sadness, and involves so many other things other than just these Batman movies. So as much as I'm looking forward to the next Batman, I do think about that sad aspect of that and that sad element. So I hope you enjoyed this little chat about The Dark Knight. I hope that some people will start up a conversation or whatever down in the comments, or leave a video response of some kind, just about The Dark Knight, maybe about your favorite parts of the movie. I really like to hear what people's favorite scenes are, even what their favorite shot is, like I named, just something that could be screen captured and would look really awesome. That's the way I look at it. Maybe what your favorite scene with Joker is, because I think, everyone, the majority would say that he's their favorite element of the story in general. I'd be interested in knowing if anyone else has thought about Harley Quinn and how she figures into this whole thing, and if there is a slim chance in the dark of somewhere that she could show up, but I just don't think, she's not cast, there's nothing to it, but you never know. Strange things happen, right? Random things happen. So I'd be interested to know if anyone's thought about her. So that's it. And it got really chaotic in there. Dark Knight, where do I begin? Where do I even begin?